Many times we get the question of how to build a successor development plan. How do we do that? And people really want and have a big desire to help their successors to be successful. Of course, you want that because it not only helps them, but it helps you, because if they're not successful, you invest time and money and energy into them, and then they don't like it, or something doesn't work, or you lose trust in each other, they lose trust in you, you lose the trust in them. That doesn't work out. It really can be not only a very hard on your time and your emotion, but it also can be really hard on a relationship. So we get this question all the time, and I tend to think of I tend to think of a successor development plan more like a process. It's more like a journey. So we use timelines in our work, and we use timelines and milestones and a lot of interaction and communication to figure out how you can hand off as a transitioner a specific responsibility, let's say accounting. Usually that gets handed off most of the time it's later in the work. But let's just take that example. Handing that off takes a lot of knowledge, because the person has to understand how accounting works in the beginning. Two, there's the foundation of it. Two, they have to understand how the accounting systems work in the business. Then they have to understand the dynamics of it, the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, the norms that are really good, like, hey, we always get our money, or gee, these people never pay us on time. So there are a lot of nuances that they have to learn. So we work in timelines, and timelines allow you to communicate with your successor and say, hey, I am going to transition this to you over the next X months. Now, you could say that that's a successor development plan, but what it really is it's a transition plan. And the transition plan says, I, as a transitioner, have a responsibility to help you as a successor learn what you need to know, and to also let go so that you can engage, so that you can take over this responsibility in the business. So when you think about a successor development plan, you could think of it in that way, but what that really says is the successor is supposed to do a lot of development. In our work, what we see is it isn't just the successor's responsibility. It's a joint plan. It's a joint timeline where the transitioner is responsible for transitioning knowledge and having some accountability to the successor. The successor is responsible for taking on and learning the item, and they have accountability to the transitioner to do that. And you have to work together, because the successor has to engage and take it away from you as a transitioner, and the transitioner has to say, I'm going to let go, and I'm going to let go knowing it's a small step and we can recover. And the successor and the transitioner are constantly going back and forth between each other. So successor development plan doesn't resonate so much with me. It's really a transition plan with two people teaming together to make it happen. When you think about, though, a successor learning, if you're the transitioner, or even if you're the successor listening to this, when you think about that, there are a few different phases. So first phase really is awareness. What's the awareness? So we'll go back to our accounting example. I have to become aware of accounting, what role it plays, how it works inside of the business. So I create this awareness. Then I need to be exposed to it. So I got to jump in, and I have to start to understand and be exposed to the different components at a deep level. So that might be some job shadowing. It might be task shadowing, where you're bringing your successor along with you to say, hey, come on, let's go do this. Let's go solve this problem, or let's migrate this platform to this platform, or whatever you're doing. It's kind of the job shadowing piece. Then there's kind of that activation phase where the successor actually is doing it. And so it's kind of a flip where if you're the transitioner, you're shadowing them, you're watching over them. So you become that mentor and really are helping them to gain confidence, helping them to see where they might be going off track, and helping them to understand and solve how they get themselves back on track. Not how you get them back on track, but how they do it. So that would be that piece. And then at some point in time, they take full ownership of the task or the responsibility, which is really your goal. So you're going from literally like awareness to ownership with some steps in between. And if you repeat that process over and over again as you transition each segment, and you have a timeline, you have a commitment to each other where they're going to take it from you, you're going to let it go, you're going to be the mentor, and they're going to be the learner, right? They're the one that's taking it on. You have a really high opportunity to have great success, to create amazing trust because you have such open communication, and to understand where you're going to run into problems, because people will say, oh, the timeline, it's so nice, but we're not getting to where we want to go. And they'll say, it's not working. And I say, oh, yes, it's working. Because you know what? It's so valuable to know that you're not getting to where you want to go. It's easy to get to where you want to go in some cases, right? Some tasks will go very nicely. It's the ones that are the challenges that you really want to know about. You want to know you're off track. You want to know you're not getting there. And that's where the communication and the working together comes in to figure out how to get there. So it's fun to think about a successor development plan. My recommendation is to shift that thinking. It's really a transitioner successor development plan. A timeline is one of your best tools, and open communication. We have this great program called Evolve, and Evolve has two big components to it. It's got this immersion program where you come and build your timeline with your successor. It takes a few days, so it's called immersion for a reason. You get immersed into it for 2.5 days or so, and you come out with this great timeline that you've collaboratively built together. Then there's the implementation stage. So we've got immersion, build your timeline, get it going, understand, and then we've got the implementation side. Implementation having all kinds of tools and resources for you, for your successors to learn, for you to learn as a transitioner, and for you to navigate some of these bumps in the road, because transition is great, but it's not easy. So I'd encourage you to take a look at our Evolve program and really consider if it might be a good fit for you to help you move forward quicker and save those relationships, because they're the most valuable thing when you get done. Your relationships are probably one of the most valuable things you have in your life. So that's my invitation to you.